Welcome in, everyone. Steve Lennox on Baseball, live stream podcast, our second of the day, and waiting anxiously. I think you'll join us here in just a few moments. But our guest this week, Matt Cleveland. And again, as I continue to build these, I'm going to be looking to kind of crawl, walk, run. That's a mantra for me. And with that, I'm hoping to get 2 or 3 of these a week. Interviews from around baseball, different people I'd like to talk to. And with that, we are exploring opportunities, possibly 2 next week, including one with Jonathan Mayo from MLB Pipeline to talk about his book from 2023 about guys making it to the big leagues and being scouted. DeGrom, Bieber, a lot of different players. It's a terrific book. Jonathan and I have worked together with MLB Advanced Media Events with USA Baseball down in Cary, North Carolina. Today's guest, and waiting for Matt to join us, Matt Cleveland. I've always known the name. I've known the name since the early 2000s when I was a broadcaster in the Carolina League in Wilmington, Delaware. And each year in the offseason, we'd create a media guide, and the Royals would give us possible 40 names that would join the Wilmington club for the upcoming season. And Matt was on the list in, I think, 2002, then again in 2003. Matt signed with the Royals organization, was with them in 2001, 2002. In 2001, he played short season ball with Spokane in the Northwest League. Then in 2002, he played with Burlington in the Midwest League. Never made it to Wilmington, but I always knew the name. That name just stuck with me. Cleveland, Matt Cleveland. Just always stuck with me along the way. And again, looking for Matt to join us here in just a moment. But this gives us opportunity to give background. So 2019, worked the National High School Invitational in Cary, North Carolina. Some of the elite programs from around the country. Every year they bring in a bunch of teams, and it's a tournament. And that year, and I've touched on this, Bruce Chattel had Del Barton there. Anthony Volpe was there. Jack Leiter was there. Volpe, shortstop for the New York Yankees. Jack Leiter, major league debut last week. Well, Matt Cleveland also had his Haggerty team out of Oviedo, Florida there as well. He had Riley Greene, outfielder, young up-and-coming star with the Detroit Tigers, and Vaughn Grissom, who during the offseason was traded from the Atlanta Braves to the Boston Red Sox. And I mentioned it earlier today on our Day 26 recap with our daily recaps of the Major League Baseball season on our live stream. Vaughn Grissom, I think, makes his Major League debut. He's right now out on a rehab assignment in the minor league system for the Red Sox, I believe with AAA Worcester. But Matt had both of those guys, Riley Greene and Vaughn Grissom, on his 2019 Haggerty team down in Florida. Matt's coached high school baseball for over 20 years. So ran into him in 2019, kind of really an introduction, and explained to him his background, coming through the Royals organization in the early 2000s, and, always knew his name and things like that. Ran into him again in 2020. And he got a great opportunity to be on the staff at Miami with the Hurricanes under Gino DiMare. And I was down there working with Doug Mankiewicz on the ACC network for a Miami game, and Matt Cleveland was on staff, so had an opportunity to say hello to him again. So we did that game. Miami walked off with a home run in the rain, and little did we know at that point in time as we left the ballpark down in South Florida that season was going to be over just a couple days later. So Matt had that opportunity to be at Miami for 1 year, but he's got an amazing resume coaching high school baseball in the state of Florida. So I thought it'd be great to have him on. But, as a coach, again, 2 big leaguers from that 2019 team, and just really neat to tie that together all these years later. Did not see him get to Wilmington in the Kansas City Royals organization when he was in pro ball. So we're going to hit on a lot of different topics with Matt. Just going back a little bit, again, we're trying to build these as we go and have 2 or 3 interviews each week. Last week, we sort of went back and did it again. I did this in 2020 during COVID, as everyone was looking for something to do. And I did some real good interviews with some terrific people. So last week, you can visit our YouTube channel and you can watch some of those interviews. Last week, we interviewed author Eric Sherman, who was at the ceremony with the New York Mets at Citi Field 2 Sundays ago, where the Mets retired number 16 for Dwight Gooden. Eric has written some terrific books, so that interview is available. Interviewing some producers and directors with the baseball bunch from my childhood years ago. Those interviews from 2020 are available on our YouTube channel at LenoxOnBaseball. You can subscribe to that channel and kind of go from there as well. Should have sent that text out to Matt. We'll go a few minutes. If he doesn't come on board, we'll just sort of reschedule. But again, we're waiting for Matt Cleveland to join us and just share some baseball stories along the way. So our daily recaps are up. We just recapped earlier this morning, day 26 of the Major League Baseball regular season. Again, encourage you to visit our YouTube channel as well as we continue to build that at LenoxOnBaseball, and some great interviews. One of my former broadcast partners, Greg Swindell from the Longhorn Network, those interviews from 2020 are still on there. And as we continue to build that channel, you can go back and watch some of those interviews as well. So one of those moments where just kind of looking, anticipating Matt joining us here in the next minute or two. Baseball. Mets lost last night to the Giants. Just kind of recapping again, going back a little bit. The Philadelphia Phillies right now, hottest team in baseball. 7 straight wins, 7-0 victory on the road last night against the Reds. They've got the pitching, they've got the hitting, they've got some talent in the minor leagues where if they have to, and a lot of teams right now dealing with injuries, having to go to the minor leagues. Bryce Harper, paternity list. Cody Clemens last night comes up 2 hits, including a home run late in that game, and Clemens getting that opportunity at the big league level. I did read this and kind of that Texas Longhorn theme. Mark Bowman had an article, and it's one of those things where the player wasn't happy. But again, I just want to acknowledge this. Bryce Elder, all-star last year with the National League, in the National League with the Atlanta Braves. This year, starting the year off in the minors. Did not break camp with the big club. But last night, and Mark Bowman on MLB.com and the Braves website kind of wrote, Elder was not happy. Go figure. Understandable, right? Didn't make the team out of spring training. And I didn't go back and look at his numbers overall, but hey, at that point in time, Strider's in the rotation and all of that, and they picked up in the offseason, and those guys are going to get those opportunities early in the season. Elder got his opportunity last night. Braves shutting out the Miami Marlins and kind of taking it from there. So just interesting of how things play out. Always be ready. Always next man up. There's always going to be things going on with a club. The Red Sox, want to touch on them. I mentioned Vaughn Grissom, but they're also going to get Rafael Devers back, hopefully tonight in Cleveland against the Guardians as they open up that series. And then also getting back Tyler O'Neill as well. So the Red Sox are one of those teams. I mentioned the Phillies red hot, 7 straight wins, 7-0 victory last night. Phillies have, everyone's got bumps and bruises, even as we approach late April and early May. But some teams have just been, I don't want to use the word decimated, but just absolutely blown out of the water early on in the season with the injuries that they've had to endure. The Red Sox certainly come to mind because they've lost their entire infield, including shortstop Trevor Story, for the rest of the season. But they're coming off a sweep over the weekend in Pittsburgh against the Pirates. Now they've got a series against a Guardians team that is very interesting. And I sometimes think when you talk about that AL Central, the White Sox are going to compete. The Twins have fallen off. But you've got the other teams in that division who all can certainly compete for that division title, right? You've got the Royals that are going to be in the mix right there. And it's just interesting to me, the Guardians are going to be there as well. And I've seen and I've touched on it. There's been a couple of articles and there's been a couple tweets out there, flippantly perhaps, of, Terry Francona left Stephen Vogt in a great spot. Hey, they've got a great organization. They have for decades now. They've up, consistent, little drop off. But the Guardians are going to be interesting in that division. The Tigers, it's kind of a wait and see. But you've got 3 teams in there that it's the AL Central. Who wants it? Who wants to get to 90 wins? Is that a division where the first to 90 wins takes the division? But that's an interesting series that gets underway tonight in Cleveland between the Guardians and the Red Sox. The Red Sox have gotten strong starting pitching, even though they've lost a couple of starting pitchers. They've lost their infield. Casas is going to be out for a while, rib issue. That certainly could be at least till Memorial Day. Have to wait and see on that one. But the Red Sox lineup that they put out there on Sunday was whoa. It was, and I'm not trying to discredit the guys who were in the lineup. They got the job done. Ref Snyder, shot in the arm. Wong, McGuire behind the plate. The other guys have stepped up. Yoshida has to step up. Jarren Duran has to continue to develop. They need to have that defense as well across the board. They have to somehow, some way. I don't know. It's certainly not taking infield every single day at the big league level. That's not going to happen. And actually, on a broadcast the other day, it might have been the Yankees on the S Network, but they touched on it of you're not going to just get better magically at the big league level defensively. You do have to put the work in. And just because they don't take infield the way they used to, batting practice, home team, visiting team, infield, get ready for the game. I don't even know if they still do it in the minor leagues like that. Systems and different things are in place. Daily routines are in place. And maybe they don't. Maybe they only take it a couple of times a week. But the players still get their early work in. But once that game speeds up and the game starts and it speeds up, it's a little bit different. But the Red Sox defensively, if they can support their pitchers defensively, they're going to be right there. I say 84 or more wins. I'll take the over on the 84. I think the Red Sox can be there. Win some games at home. Better team right now on the road than they are at home. And I wonder if that has anything to do with the negativity in Boston. Everything seems to be negative. Bruins won a playoff game this weekend. Celtics won a playoff game this weekend. Red Sox swept. Still, Red Sox fans, Boston fans can find the negatives in those things. Going from one AL East team to another. And I had this on this morning on our daily recapping day number 26 of the Major League Baseball regular season. The Yankees, I haven't watched enough, but I've read enough, and you look at numbers. That lineup still, it's exciting. Yes, there's names there. Yes, Judge has not gotten off to a tremendous start here in April. Yes, it's going to warm up in May. Juan Soto has provided exactly what you figured Juan Soto was going to provide. He gets on base. Average on base percentage, that's Juan Soto. Knock-in runs, that's Juan Soto. Big home runs, that can be Juan Soto. Yankee fans want to sign him to a $700 million deal right now. Juan Soto is going to free agency. I don't know that anyone else competes against the Yankees for Juan Soto in free agency. If the Mets decide they want to walk away from Pete Alonso, certainly could be in the mix. But it just seems like Juan Soto's perfect fit in the Bronx, in the pinstripes. But that lineup right now, shut out twice in the last 3 games, 4 times already on. We're not even 4 weeks into the season. Now, they're not the White Sox in terms of being shut out, but that lineup's got to be able to produce those other guys in the lineup. It's not just about the home run. It can't be just about the home run because you can't rely on that come October. And right now, the way that Yankee lineup is, a couple of guys got off to good starts, but now they're scuffling a little bit. We'll go here for another minute or two. Not sure that our guest, Matt Cleveland, is going to join us. Kicking myself a little bit right now for not just texting him about 20 minutes ago with a friendly reminder, but perhaps we'll have to reschedule with Matt at some other time. The Braves, the Phillies, the Mets have dropped 2 in a row after winning 6 in a row. There was actually a couple of people online today. Speaking of the negativity of, there were a couple of people today saying the Mets are going to be a team that all of a sudden is going to scuffle, that perhaps it was fool's gold in that 6-game win streak and starting 0-5 and then getting to a couple of games over 500 in that stretch. They went into L.A. They took 2 out of 3 from the Dodgers. They lost 10-0 in the finale, yes, on Sunday. But overall, you had to like a lot of the things the Mets were doing. They weren't just hitting home runs. They were doing a lot of other things. Getting men on base, knocking them in, scoring late in games. Key RBI situations, guys were coming through. If they can continue that, get Kodai Senga back in the next couple of weeks. JD Martinez could be back in the lineup or could be in the lineup for the first time as early as this Friday when they get back home from LA and San Francisco and going out west for their trip. It's an interesting one. Where are they? Where that first poll of the season is Memorial Day. We're still a long way off from there. But after getting off to the dreadful start, they sort of turned things around. One more team, And I mentioned this as well earlier this morning in our daily recap, the Cardinals. And I've said it before, the Cardinals and Red Sox for me parallel in terms of their last couple of seasons. And the fan base is certainly with high expectations, and understandably so. But Paul Goldschmidt, does he get going here? Cardinal fans aren't believers right now. But as they walked off last night, there was excitement in the ballpark. But there's just some trepidation there about what this team is, what it can be, and is it just going to hover around 500 and be a couple of games under 500 like they are right now throughout the course of the season, July, August, into September? We'll wait and see. It's kind of another daily version of our Lennox on Baseball live stream here. We'll say goodbye, and then we'll try to revisit with Matt Cleveland at some point in the coming days. We'll have our daily recap for day number 27 of the Major League Baseball season, either late tonight or early on Wednesday morning. Enjoy the rest of your day, everybody.